Welcome to the Babies in Business Podcast. Join your hosts, Rachel and Avram Gonzales, real-life parents and business partners. Each week on Babies in Business, Rachel and Avram create a space for entrepreneurial parents to find their own way. They'll dive into insights on topics like leadership, efficiency, self-awareness, budgeting, and human psychology as they nurture their family and build their business. Here's your hosts, Avram and Rachel.
What stresses you out, Mama? What is it today?
A lot of different things from you.
That's true. We were laughing the other day. I think it was, well, we'll talk about it. I think it was a mess inspired by a toddler.
Yes.
About how obviously I was coming unglued while you were just super chill about it. We're like, you know what would be fun? Let's talk about what stresses you out versus what stresses me out.
Yes. And I'm very excited to talk about this because it's really comical, the difference between you and me, and differences don't make it bad. It's just different. So very excited to talk about the differences. Yeah,
and for you listening, we'd love to hear from you over at the blog babiesinbiz.com/63. It's the number of this episode.
Ooh, you actually looked it up.
I looked it up before we started.
Got it.
Getting better at it. And you can let us know how you and your partner are different in this, just because I think everybody can relate. There are things that drive you up the wall that your partner doesn't care about.
Yeah.
And that also might kind of drive you up the wall.
Yes.
So let's talk about it. We got a bunch of different things spanning personal, home, business, finances, hobbies, all kinds of stuff today. Let's jump into it.
So let's just tell a story about this first one. So it was like yesterday, this weekend, and there was a time when I was in, it doesn't even matter where I was in the house. It seems to be that Lincoln will open something up and start taking everything out. So what happened is we were in our master bathroom and there's a linen closet there. Lincoln just recently discovered it, maybe for the first time. He gets in there and he closes himself in, and then he opens up the door and he throws out a washcloth. And then he closes the door and on and on and on until we have this pile of clean laundry that was folded and put away on the floor. I found it to be very funny, and I'm just going to pick it up and toss it back in. I'm not even going to bother folding it. So I asked Avram, come in here and don't do anything about it and don't say anything. Just look.
She knew.
So I kind of did it because I wanted to see his reaction. It had nothing to do with anything else. So he comes in and immediately he gave me the reaction that I wanted from him.
Yeah, what was it? What was the reaction?
Do toddler messes stress you out, Avram?
Totally. I mean, he's unloading, like the one drawer we don't have a lock on, all the pens out of it. I'm like, oh my God, just stop.
And he just learned how to take caps off of markers. So
toddler messes. I mean, the other thing is too, like, all these fun projects and activities. If there's paint involved, it just drives me nuts when the paint is like on the table, not on the...
Or I had, we had some Cheerios and I was like, I don't really want you eating Cheerios anymore, so I'm going to grind them up into dust and you can use sand in the house. Yay! So Avram comes home one day and there is dust everywhere in the kitchen.
And it's getting tracked everywhere now.
Well, right, it's getting tracked everywhere, but he's also slipping on it because it's on the floor. So he steps on it and whoop, he's down on the floor. So
the baby, not me.
Yes, exactly.
It'd be a real problem if it was me.
I know there are times that I have to prep him for when he comes into the house because I've let Lincoln go wild with all these different things. So there are messes. And I'll tell him, okay, I don't expect you to clean this up. There is a mess here and here. Just leave it alone and go do this instead. So I will suggest an activity for Avram to come home and do while I'm busy with the other thing. It could be holding Lincoln or August or sitting down with a show, whatever that thing is, but it is not dealing with the mess because...
Listen, you stop. Let's not talk about the couch that we literally threw away because he covered it in your makeup.
Oh, we won't talk about that.
Right, so Next topic. Now that we know that it totally stresses me out and it doesn't stress Rachel out, toddler messes.
Yes.
Let's talk about damaging the vehicle.
Okay. Yeah.
So the other day I went to lunch with my mom and I'm turning into this restaurant, and I'm trying not to hit the other car that's waiting, to turn out. So I cut the corner a bit hard, and what do? I scrape the entire bottom panel of the door on the right-hand side up this tall curb. I scrape the shit out of that thing, and I'm like, you know what? That's over. I know it's got to be $1,000 of damage, maybe
Or
more,
probably.
maybe 2, and it's it just seems like it shouldn't be, but it's gonna be. Right? I'm like, well, I'm gonna have a good lunch with my mom, and I did. And I came home and I was like, so I messed it up.
Yeah.
We can always make more money.
Yeah.
That was it. And then.
Well, I'm grateful that it happened to you, because at that point in my journey postpartum and how I was feeling, even just a week ago, prior to getting more sleep, it's just the one thing that tips me over the edge, and that would have absolutely sent me reeling, because I would have made a mistake and I would have been beating myself up about it. Whether you would have had a problem with it or not, and you could have said the very same thing, we can always make more money, to me, had it been me, I would have been devastated.
Yeah.
So, did it bother me? It would have if it was me doing the damage, but since you did it, it was like, at least there's that.
At least there's that. What about playing a new board game, Rachel?
That's really stressful for me.
Why?
Well, because I grew up with, if a game was making us make noise and mom didn't like it, she would throw it away. So I have a lot of trauma around that. I mean, that's one of the things, but also it's like, I want to be good at the board game, and because I didn't grow up going to school, and because I felt dumb, and because I felt uneducated, and the way I functioned in life was looking at other people and following what they did in a certain social circumstance or situation. In board games, it's hard for me to do that, because all I would have is do what the other person is doing, but it's not always the same.
Well, you don't even know the rules yet.
Exactly. I don't know the rules. I don't know how to not look stupid in my eyes when I come against something that's brand new.
Yeah.
So it's a huge thing for me, but I like playing board games with you for the very first time, because I know there's no judgment, and you know how I feel about it.
Yeah, true.
Lots of baggage for me.
True. Like this whole other layer that most people don't have to contend with.
Yeah.
Right? So it stresses you out. For me, I love learning something new. I love learning the rules of something, because then I can figure out all the ways around them, through them, to take advantage of them.
But you also have just a really chill approach to new board games. It's like, oh, the first time through, yeah, I'm probably not going to win, but the next time I will.
Yeah. Well, and shout out to your brother Walker. I kind of picked that up from him too. We've been playing games now for about 3 years, 4 years now, here and there, and that's how he approaches it. And I'm like, you know what? I should take it a little bit less seriously the first few times too.
And Walker's like, we play it once, and he's like, let's go again.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one. There's a website issue.
Oh boy, that's stressful. For me, absolutely. Yeah. For you?
You know what? Also stressful. Even though I know how to do most of the things.
Yeah.
Whenever there's something that comes up that especially takes me out of something I'm already doing to fix a problem, really makes me grumpy. It can ruin my entire day. And I think that's pretty much all that needs to be said about that.
Yeah. The awesome thing though is that, we have, in our business, we help people get found online. We have to deal with website stuff, but we don't actually do the awesome things with website stuff. So
yeah.
It's an obstacle that we have had to find a solution for.
Well, and so what happened was, the other day is like one of 3 sites that we still maintain personally had an issue, plus our own website, same day.
Yes.
And it was that moment where like, look, this is stupid. So I spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours that morning fixing all the problems.
Yep.
Totally different than what I was supposed to be doing that day.
Yes.
Huge waste of time. So what did we do? We said, you know what? We need to move every last one of our clients and our own projects to our partners at Scale Squad.
Yes.
Shout out to Wade and Brad, the rest of the team over at Scale Squad. They are our white label partners that manage all of our client websites, and now officially all of our client websites.
Because they just make it so easy. They do a great job, and they take away all of that stress. Had we had that same problem with that same client and our website, and we had it under management over at Scale Squad, what would the solution have looked like?
We would have submitted a ticket and it would have been fixed that day.
Correct.
And we wouldn't have had to do anything else after that.
So it would have taken probably 10, 15 minutes of your time.
At most.
Instead of hours and the rest of your day being wiped.
Correct.
For productivity.
Correct. So
yes, websites are stressful. Now they're not.
Now they're not. Client reporting. Well, for me, that's stressful.
Yeah.
And I think that's a combination of different things. But primarily what comes up for me is I am so critical
Yes.
of how we are performing for our clients.
And not just that, I think you also get into the weeds. You can't just come up with the numbers and the reporting for the actual reporting for the clients. You see XYZ in their dashboards and you're like, oh, I gotta go find it.
And then I go.
And then you just go deep. Instead of me, I come in and I look at it as a problem to be solved, because there are some clients that we have multiple channels, like we have SEO, LSA ads, and Google ads, and we got to get like the full amount for each lead, the cost per lead. And I created a spreadsheet. It makes my job really easy, and it was just really stressful and it was a lot. So I came in and created a system, made it easy, and instead of having that frustration for you around reporting, we just transferred it to a productive time. You get to do SEO stuff. You have a specific allotted time to go in, look at the campaigns, and rework stuff if it needs to be reworked.
Because that's what de-stresses me.
Absolutely.
Being
when
on
you can go in, exactly, and look at the strategy. So it is stressful for you for client reporting, and it's not for me. So I do the client reporting now. And Orange Theory benchmarks. We go to Orange Theory for where we work out and we get fit. Is it stressful for you, Avram?
Well, benchmark, by the way, is there's several like rowing or running challenges, different.
Yeah, it's like a 12-minute mile or whatever
12-minute
that is.
run for distance.
Yeah, run for distance.
And these other challenges that they'll track on your app year over year every time you do them.
Yeah, you can see historically.
So you see how you can see how you do. For me, that's not stressful.
It's no big deal for you. And for me, I'm like, I've never done this.
Well, does it?
And I don't know how. And then what you do is you say, okay, Rachel, you've got this benchmark tomorrow. And if you do this, then you'll make that you'll do this time.
I'll figure out
give me a strategy.
the strategy for her to follow.
So I come in, if it's like that 12-minute run for distance, you say, okay, so you could set it at 5 and you can make this amount of whatever. I think it was like a mile.
Or I'll look at her data from some of her past runs and be like, okay, yeah, you could totally do this. Just set it at this and go. And
exactly. And you just helped me get a little bit better than last time. It's not like I need to go for broke.
Yeah.
In those benchmarks. But yeah, it stresses me out.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at my heart rate monitor right before we begin those challenges, it's way up. And I think that's just like the
You're excited.
Positive stress and excitement, but not the, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
What about overspending?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's stressful.
Business and personal.
Oh yeah. I'm in charge of all that stuff. So
what does that look like?
Well,
because you mentioned this to me,
it could be as simple as we have 3 softwares that do the very same thing in our business, or it could be we have subscriptions at home that do the same thing, or we don't use. Or it could be, I think we have something like we paid for an HVAC company to do like a spring fall maintenance, and we haven't done the fall maintenance. That's something we spent on, but we haven't actually gotten it done, that kind of stuff. It's that kind of stuff that stresses me out.
So the reason that I put it on our list for today was because Rachel mentioned something like that she thinks about it, and if she suspects that there is, or like that is stressful to her in itself.
Right, I don't actually know, and it's the not knowing.
Yeah, so that's funny.
So on our personal side though, I have a budget. I have an actual spreadsheet of consistent expenditures that we make every single month, and that's a certain line item, that's a certain amount. So I have all of them listed out. It could be our internet, our phone, or all those different things. And then there are other envelopes that we fill to make sure that we are maintaining everything. It could be like the health fund for our family, like all those different expenses for going to the chiropractor or whatever that might be. But I keep them at a certain level because I do all of the transfers from our business bank accounts to our personal bank accounts. So I keep line item stuff, and the fact that I don't have that for our business is something on the back of my mind that if I had a goal in the future that I would love and would be so much fun for me is to have a spreadsheet for our business expenses.
Yeah.
That I could check off every month.
Yeah.
And when I see an unexpected expense, I can ask, okay, what was this?
Yeah. Well, Christmas is coming, babe. I was going to say I could get you a spreadsheet, but we both know I'm not the person that would do that.
No way.
Kim, help. All right. That's who's listening to this and editing our audio today, and she's a spreadsheet master. So for me, it's like, no, it doesn't keep me up at night the same way, but you know how much I dislike.
Oh, yeah.
And when I do find out about something, and it's especially if it's close to the last straw for me, or I'm in the mode of cleaning house, it's like whoop gone, and
Right. Well, and you're really good on the business side about if you know about some softwares and tools and stuff that you know we could replace with something better. You let me know all the time, hey, I cut this much money, and I cut this much money, and I replaced it with this.
The other day, I cut $85 a month worth of subscriptions off of 3 different things, and that felt
and
great.
replaced it with something else.
I replaced it with something else.
You know, just got some efficiencies. So next thing, entertaining a toddler.
Yeah, it's stressful for me right now because in the summer, it was so easy to just go outside and go take him somewhere, and I also enjoy that.
Yeah.
I enjoy
You could drive him somewhere, you could take him on a walk.
I enjoy going to the park with him. I enjoy going on a walk or helping him with his bike and stuff like that.
Right.
But coming into winter time, it's really stressful for me because I'm like, what do we do in the house?
Well, and
for me, I'm overwhelmed by that and feeling the responsibility of it.
The possibility of a mess. There are so many things that he wants to do, like he could color and that could be a mess. He could paint and that could be a mess.
I think you're right.
He could use the sand that we make and that could be a mess. He could use Play-Doh and that could be a mess. You know, I think and that could be a mess could be followed up by most of anything that he would do in the house. Would you agree?
Yeah, and now that I think about it, like there's just more effort involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, what I did is when the weather started getting cold, I suggested we could do bath time adventure because he loves bicycle adventure or the bicycle road. So we'll go outside during the summer, we can go on a ride, we could go to the park, all those things. But for me, I thought, I really don't want to be outside when it's cold. And if August is napping and I'm the only one home, can't really go outside with a toddler. So I just find different things that we can do in the house. So it's not stressful for me finding something for him to do and not just like entertaining him, but encouraging him to use his imagination and suggesting books. And he might want to sit down and watch some shows with his friends. You know, he loves Daniel Tiger and he loves Blaze and the Monster Machines. And gosh, he loves all these different shows. And while that is okay and we will take some time to do that, I do suggest books and it's really cute. If we do books right out the gates, oh my gosh, he'll sit and read to me or he'll just open it up and he kind of knows what they already say. So I really enjoy experiencing that with him.
Yeah. So we're different.
Yeah.
Clearly. Different things stress us. Those were just some fun things that Rachel and I picked out so that we could record this podcast today, ways that were different, ways that were same. And I'm sure that you have these things in your relationship and your business, your partner. So we'd love to hear about it. If you go over to the website, babiesandbiz.com/63, that's the number 63. At the bottom of the page, there's our comment section. We got a community question for you to answer. What stresses you out that doesn't stress your partner out? We'd love to hear it. I'm sure you got some funny ones just like us. What else we got going on, Rachel?
Well, you know, just another reminder about the B2B Expo that we're going to be a part of in January 15th.
Here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albuquerque, New Mexico at the convention center. It's going to be pretty much all day. And we have this really fun opportunity for you to win some really cool stuff. So it's going to be, you know, dressing a baby, undressing a baby doll, of course,
yes.
Putting a diaper on and answering questions at the same time. So whoever gets the best time gets the #1 prize.
Yes.
So we're really, really excited.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of laughs.
There's bragging rights up for grabs here in addition to our prizes. So I hope you come down, support us. It'd be nice to have some friends in attendance who can put up those first few high scores
Yes.
and get people ready to compete and moving through this at our booth. So I think we'll get the booth number for next time. We're like booth like 316, 318, something like that. But,
yeah, we'll have more specifics this next time.
Yeah, so with that, we look forward to catching you at the expo or on the next episode of the Babies in Business podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Give us those 5-star reviews on Apple, Spotify, or wherever it is that you're listening. With that, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Babies in Business podcast. Who do you know that would benefit from hearing this episode? Share it with them and post about it on social media. You can find the show notes for this episode, free downloads, and connect with the rest of the community at babiesandbiz.com. We'll see you next time.